Hey, what's up, everybody? My bad. Welcome to the Collective Podcast. We're glad to be here with you today. We hope this podcast will serve you as you search God's Word for knowledge that you can take into your own lives and ministries. As well, we hope that you have some fun along the way.
Probably
so,
not, though.
My name is Brandon. I am... yeah, nice. Probably not. My name is Brandon. I am the... student pastor. What do I do? What's my job?
You don't do
I'm
anything.
a student pastor. Yeah,
I'm kidding, dude.
Here at Calvary in Bellevue North, and I'm here with Zayne, who is normally our host, but today Zayne is our featured guest. It works. It's not weird unless you make it weird.
Yeah.
So here with Zayne, our CSL campus youth pastor, and we're live on YouTube.
Oh,
yes,
live.
So,
we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. We've got your comments pulled up, so if you've got questions, hit us up along the way. We would love to answer those. Comment anything that you would like as well, but if you wouldn't say it to your grandma, don't say it to us. So again, today we're talking to Zayne about his message from this past week on Collective Live. If you haven't joined us for Collective Live, you need to do that. It's Wednesday nights, 6:30, right here on the YouTube channel. This week we're actually going to give away some fancy food. Haven't quite decided yet what that's going to be, so maybe comment if you have some suggestions on what we should give away.
We've given away chicken. We've given away pizza. We've given away tacos. Last week we gave away a gift card, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we are
Matthews,
giving
I still need to mail that to you.
Yeah, we are going to mail a gift card to the Matthews.
We will at some point.
We talked about possibly an ice cream cake. Oh, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to have to put my foot in my mouth eventually.
I like it.
We're gonna mail a
foot. Not feet. I don't
not
like
a
that.
foot.
I like the ice cream cake part.
No feet and nobody's mouths. I promise.
Yeah. So you're gonna want to jump on Collective Live this week and make sure that you have a chance to win that. We're getting really close to our Collective Live season finale, which is actually going to be July 29th, and that is kind of the precursor to us moving back into in-person ministry.
Oh yeah.
Which is going to be exciting.
Oh yeah.
We're going to kick that off with an incredible event called the Comeback. If you haven't signed up for the Comeback yet, what's wrong with you?
Do it.
Do it.
It's live right now.
We're going to do it live. So you can do that at calvary.ch/youth. But anyway, I think that's all the housekeeping announcements that I have for us today. Let's dive in. This week on Collective Live, our series, Graves into Gardens, we're kind of talking about some of these things throughout Scripture. And from my perspective, it's like Scripture's greatest plot twists. We talked about Graves in the Gardens. We talked about Bones in the Armies. We're going to talk about Beauty for Ashes and Seas into Highways. Seas into Highways. Is crazy to think about. But Zayne this week talked about Ezekiel 37 and all of that and what all that, like there's a lot going on.
There's
bones and whatnot.
Crunchy bones.
But before
Crunchy, windy bones.
Before we get into that,
yeah,
I have a question for you, Zayne.
Oh, no. Yep.
Have you ever broken a bone and how?
I don't. I've never, normally when people break their bones, it's like their arm or their leg or something. I've never broken a bone like that. I remember whenever I was at church one Sunday in Lincoln when I was living in Lincoln, and I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and my brother is not that much younger than me. And I remember he pushed me into a wheelchair, he pushed me really hard, and I gunk on a wheelchair, and I thought I broke my nose. It wasn't broken. Well, it had a big old chunk. It had a big bump on it, and it didn't break. And then one time I dislocated my knee, sprained it really bad, and then the doctor was like, "You chipped your growth plate." And so I always told people I chipped my growth plate. So yeah, nice. I was playing football when I was 15, but no, I've never actually just broken a bone. And nice. I drink a lot. I rub milk all over my legs every day. So I've never broken a bone.
Yeah. I haven't either. So I thought that was a fun question. But my sister has broken her arm twice, same arm. On the same day of the year, 2 years in a row.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah,
she needs to rub more milk on her arm.
I know. She doesn't drink milk at all. She hates milk. I'm like, that's what you get. It does a body good.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, man, let's dive into this. We'd love for you. Just give us a quick rundown of your message and what you talked about on Wednesday night.
Yeah. If I can remember everything. I tried to touch on so many things, but
much in that passage.
There was, man. Ezekiel 37 is a crazy passage when you read it at first, but I talked a lot about... you can take that passage in so many different directions, I think, too. It's very very open. But I took the perspective of Ezekiel in this story where God, in a vision, Ezekiel's a prophet from God. And so God takes him in this vision to this valley of dry bones, and there's bones that cover the entire bottom of this valley. And so I said, imagine that you're Ezekiel and you're walking through this valley, and you have to step on bones. You have to make a way through the bones to be able to step on dry ground, and imagine the crackling and the wind blowing the bones over it, and trying to paint this vision in your head of like this desert or this. I used in my head, I took vacation to western Nebraska, and I was like, imagine just the Great Plains, but it's just bones. And in this story, I said the bones represent the nation of Israel. Right. The bones represent the people that Ezekiel is supposed to be speaking God to. Like, Ezekiel is the mouthpiece of God to this nation of Israel, and God is saying, these are my people that are dry and dead, and the bones, they're not just like bones that have just been buried and they have a little bit of flesh on them. Like, they are dried out. They're like, whenever you pick up a bone that's been dried out, it's like kind of light and airy, and it's like really dusty. And
I haven't really had an experience with that, but I'll take it.
I mean, not human bones, not human bones. I promise, guys. We're gonna have to take this off the air, but no, we haven't. I've never touched human bones, I don't think. But like even animal bones, like when bones are that dried out and dusty and old, you usually don't have hope that those things are ever gonna live again.
Right, and I mean, and for good reason.
Yeah, for good reason. They're very dead.
Yeah. And
so God is saying to Ezekiel in this vision, like, that's how dead these people are.
Yeah,
that is how far away they are. That is how dried out and dusty, dusty and old and worn out, and like they are long gone. But Ezekiel, and I use three things to kind of place ourselves in Ezekiel's position. Ezekiel was among the dead. He was walking among this nation of dead people. This nation, not physically dead, but like spiritually dead, dried out people.
Right.
So Ezekiel was among them. Ezekiel had almost foolish confidence when God asked him to prophesy to these bones and say, like, come back to life, put flesh on. And God said, I will do that to the nation. And Ezekiel in this vision prophesied to the bones, even though God asked him, like, hey, do you think these bones are ever going to live again? And Ezekiel's like,
no, probably not.
That's what I said. I was like, I do not think so. But God, if you want to, you can. And so Ezekiel didn't have confidence in those bones. And so he did have almost foolish confidence in God. Right. And we are called to do that as well. We're called to have almost foolish confidence in God. And then the last thing was that we are to speak and pray with boldness, just like Ezekiel, having no faith in those bones being alive again. He still prophesied with boldness and with faith that God was who he says he was, and that he would do what he said he did. And so tying that into our own lives, we need to walk among the dead. We need to find ourselves among the dead around us. We need to have almost foolish confidence that God will do what he says he will do, and then we need to speak and pray boldly. We can't where there's no room for timidity. There's no room for being scared when we see the things that God is able to do.
That's awesome. So your first point, living people walk among the dead. What does that really mean? I mean, to be honest, I haven't found myself in front of a valley of dry bones. You know what I mean? So what does that mean practically, day to day? How do we live that out? You know what I mean, how do we walk among the dead?
I mean, walking among dead is like whenever you think about that, the vision in your head probably isn't like walking into your school.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about like standing in a cemetery.
Yeah.
And being like, cool, here we are.
Yeah, and it's kind of uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
That thought is like, I don't like the thought of either, really, a lot of the time. I don't like the thought of walking among a cemetery, or I don't like the thought of walking into school and prophesying to my students or to my friends, you know?
Maybe stand up on the lunch table, a message from the Lord.
Yeah. I mean, foolish confidence, though, you know, that's one thing, but practically on an everyday basis, that's more or less what it is. Like, do we recognize the things around us, the people around us, the places around us that are dried out, that are dead, that are like spiritually dead, right? Are we feeling like that ourselves? And do we need to pursue somebody that has life in them that can carry us along through that, that can speak life into us? And I think we all have people on both sides of that spectrum. I have people in my life that I know that are spiritually dead, that are spiritually bones right now. And I'm also in this season and COVID-19 and in the world around me, like, I feel dead a lot of the time, so I need to be with people that bring life into me. But walking among the dead tangibly looks like walking into your school,
Yeah.
walking into your work a lot of the time, where you hear your coworkers talk about things that like don't bring life, you know, like seek that out, and not to take yourself farther away from the gospel, but to be able to speak life into those things.
Yeah.
So we need to find ourselves in places among them, just like Ezekiel was placed among a nation of dead people.
Yeah, for sure.
To speak life into them.
No, that's good. We did have a question.
Yeah.
Jasmine asked, how do we know who's dead?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. I mean, through conversations with people, like here at Calvary, we have this thing called One Life,
right?
Where, I mean, I hope people who are listening to this that don't have Jesus won't think that being dead is like a negative, like horrible term. I've been dead.
Yeah.
Like, I would actively admit that I've been dead in my own life, and that's like where you see and where you feel people are far from God.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative thing where it's like, oh, that person's dead, I can't be around them, because God is saying through Ezekiel, no, you want to be closer to them.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's through conversations with your friends and family when they're actively saying like, oh, I'm worn out, like I haven't gone to church in forever, I'm uncomfortable, like those things that lead you to believe like, oh, this person is reaching out to me saying that they're dead. It's in your listening and your viewing of your friends and family around you that are struggling, that are going through things. And dead can mean a lot of different things in this chapter, but it's like intentional. You have to seek it out.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Dead things aren't always going to just fall into your lap so that you can just easily prophesy to them and easily speak life into them. Like Ezekiel, like was in that nation, and I mean, it's all around us. I think we see in the news, we see in the school, we see just dead quotes,
there's
things.
Not really a shortage of it.
No, there's not really a shortage of it. I mean, I'm trying not to make it seem like it's too easy to see it either, because like I said, a lot of the times I feel like I'm dead and dried out. And so,
well, and I think there's plenty of people out there that would say that they're very much alive.
Yeah.
When really their life says otherwise. You know what I mean? So you talked about speaking life and being somebody who brings life. And I think, none of us are perfect. We all have that tendency to not speak life and not be kind all the time and not, build each other up all the time. But at the same time, like if that's your go-to, if that's the posture of your heart, man, you might actually be the dead.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, does your life bring life, or does it bring, I don't know, the opposite
does
of
it bring
death, not necessarily death, but
and I mean, death can even be like living in being comfortable all the time. Like just because it's not uncomfortable doesn't mean you're dead. Like it is super comfortable to play video games all day. And I mean, we both play video games, and sometimes I'm like, man, I've been playing this video game so long, I feel like I'm about to die.
Yeah. You're just like, you can't even close your eyes because it burns.
But it feels comfortable. It's like fun and it's good things, but it's not like necessarily a bad thing. But for sure.
Cool.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, one, I guess the takeaway for this for me is one, like check your own life, like check your own
1,000%.
If, dead things can't bring life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it just can't happen. And so are we alive? Like I think that's question number one.
Yeah.
And then what can we do to bring that life that we have to other people?
Yeah.
And so, man, speaking life, like just being a constant source of encouragement and of godly love. Like that's the call, right? Like be among the dead, but you can also be among the dead, do more damage than good. So I love it, man. I love it. What about this? Like, so we made the joke about jumping up on the lunchroom table, and we talked about foolish confidence.
Yeah.
Is there a line?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there is a line.
Between foolish confidence and foolishness.
Yeah, just between foolish confidence and foolishness, because God asks Ezekiel when he's in this this valley that is completely filled with bones, and I said that you would never think these bones would come back to life.
Right.
And God's question, in my opinion, I would have been like, what? God asks him, can these bones live again?
Right.
Like, why would God ask that question, first of all? And why was Ezekiel's response, only you know?
Yeah.
Why wasn't it? What the heck? No, of course not.
Yeah.
You know what? What kind of dumb question is it?
I feel like Ezekiel was smart enough to know, like, it's never the most obvious answer, and yet I still don't want to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, like we're friends.
Yeah, but Ezekiel, like, I don't think he was afraid of looking like an idiot, even though it was in a vision. Ezekiel had confidence that if God wanted to raise those bones to life, he could do it, and he didn't fear the consequence from anything around him of like, you know, like, I'm going to look like an idiot, but yeah, I think these bones can live again.
Right.
You know, I mean, I remember whenever I was in high school and I was afraid of looking foolish just for praying at the lunch table, not standing up and like shouting at the kitchen or on the cafeteria table that like, yeah, I'm going to prophesy. You know, like we all know some people, or we've all seen the guy on the street corner and things like that, which people's their mind immediately goes to whenever they think of Christians sometimes. But like we need to have almost foolish confidence in God. And I don't know personally where that is. It might be a personal, like, this is the limit for me whenever it passes just into straight foolishness.
Yeah.
But having foolish confidence in God is you have to.
Yeah, I think the question for me is like, is it a me thing or is it a God thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we all have foolish confidence in something.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, I grew up a South Carolina football fan. You grew up a Nebraska football fan.
Die hard.
You guys have a few national championships, but both of us know what it's like at the beginning of this current climate of football to know what it's like to have foolish confidence in our teams, even though they're going to let us down.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, we all have foolish confidence in something.
Yeah.
And we're not embarrassed by it.
Yeah,
like,
and
I'm not embarrassed to be a Carolina fan, even though it's, you know what I mean? Or you're not embarrassed to be a Nebraska fan, but at the same time, we have so much trouble having this foolish confidence in God, who's way more faithful than Nebraska or South Carolina football.
I mean, literally created the universe.
Yeah.
Literally raised bones into armies. Literally raised people from dead. Like, and Paul talks about this in the New Testament when he says that the image of Jesus on the cross is foolishness to those who don't believe it, to those who haven't experienced it. And I kind of tied that into the message, like, yeah, if I wasn't a Christian and the first thing I heard from somebody was, this guy died on the cross for you, I would probably be like, that's dumb. Why? You know, like,
you don't even know me.
Exactly. Yeah. So it does come off as foolishness, but then once you've grown close, once you've understood the power of God in your own life, and in my life, whenever I use the example of when I was baptized, and I was like, this is what it feels like to be raised to life. Like, that removes any of the foolishness of it. Like, there's no foolishness in trusting that God can raise the dead to life when you experience it. And so that's more or less what I was getting at. Like, are we confident that God can bring the dead around us to life? When we do find ourselves in situations around us where people are dead, where they're dried out, where they're weary, are we confident that God can bring them to life, or are we just like, that person is long gone?
And I think that's the real question, man. It's like, do we have enough faith to never think someone's beyond God's grace? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have anything to do with us. It's not
absolutely
like how eloquent of an argument we can put together or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's all about like God revealing himself through us to that
1,000%.
Yep. And so we have to be open to that. We have to be ready for that. We have to
get out of the way.
Yeah. But we have to be where it matters. We have to be in those places.
Yeah.
You know? And so as you're going to school, as you're going to work or hanging out with your family even, like, are you the type of person that brings life all the time?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because that's where it starts, right? It starts with people recognize something different about you. Mm-hmm. They see the life that you have, and then they want a piece of the action.
I want a little bit of that cake. Yeah.
So, man, it was such a good word, Zayne.
I appreciate it.
Well done. But what would be like if you had like a final encouragement? Man, go live this out this week. What would that be for everyone?
I think it kind of wraps all of these things up. The last point that I really hit on in my message was speak and pray boldly.
Yeah.
And I don't want. I've used the image of this guy named David Goggins before, but he doesn't say anything or do anything like scared. Timidly, you know? Yeah. And I think God calls us to, Paul tells Timothy, don't let people look down on you because you're young. Don't be timid. Don't be shy. And so in this message, when we've experienced life in our own lives, whether you have or not, speak life if you have, and then don't be afraid of it whenever people are talking to you about it. But whenever you are speaking about God and your faith and praying to God about things in your life, do it with the power of the Holy Spirit that's inside of you.
Yeah,
and God calls us to do that. And we have Ezekiel as an example. We have Paul as an example. We have all of these things that we're going to continue to talk through in this Graves into Garden series. So,
awesome.
Don't be timid.
Yeah.
If I could wrap it up, have faith, have confidence.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks everyone for watching along. Hey, just a quick thought here at the end. This past week, we kind of sat down as a team to sort of evaluate our online digital presence as we move through this phase of both summer and whatever else is going on in 2020. I think there were supposed to be murder hornets at some point.
Next week, 2 weeks.
Check my calendar. But we're having an awesome time doing all of these things. And as we kind of took a step back, as we want to focus on the fall and what that looks like for us, we decided to just kind of like put our effort and energy into the comeback, which is coming soon. Sign
August 2nd through the 5th.
/youth. Be there.
Yeah.
And so we're going to take a pause on some things here at Collective, one being the podcast.
Yep.
Daily Devos, things like that. We're going to continue to do Collective Live through the end of the month, but then we're hoping real soon to be able to be back in person.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of reevaluate what that looks like from there.
Definitely.
What do we do? So
yeah,
Zayne, it's been awesome.
I appreciate it, man. This has been incredible, and I hope at some point in the future we're able to bring something back that we can continue to engage with online. And I know we'll
be back.
We be back.
We'll be back.
You heard, but skirt. Yeah. We hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love hearing your questions and comments. So get a hold of us any way that you can. We're online. And sign up for the comeback, August 2nd through the 5th. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for Collective Live at 6:30 p.m. right here on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Wednesday night.
night.
See you then.